Part 2, Dave Shamsey.
Okay, so just recapping this, and I know that you are astounded, and I was too the first time I saw it. So between the guy that put the $10,000 in at a 4% rate of return and the guy that put the $10,000 in at a 12% rate of return, we've got a $600,000 difference, which is unbelievable. We didn't change anything. We didn't change the amount of money that we put in. We didn't change the amount of time. All we did was change the percentage rate.
Okay.
Right?
So how do we change the percentage rate?
Okay, so 12%. That seems crazy, seems high. So there's 3 places we can put our money. All right.
Okay.
First place is kind of a fixed interest rate type of place, like a checking account, savings account. And I don't know that you'd even achieve that 4%.
No. About 1/4%.
And I'm not speaking poorly about checking or savings account. We all have to have them. It's just not the place to build financial independence.
No. I agree.
So the next part you have is stock market. The stock market's great. You can make a lot of money in the stock market. I think lots of people have. But there's the benefit, right, when the thing shoots up and you made a lot of money. But then you also have that downturn when it dips below zero. And
a lot of people have lost a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, and here's the thing. The next thing I'm going to tell you, and obviously I'll say that I'm slightly biased, but I think you'll agree with me. I've never heard of a better thing, a better way to put your money, a better investment strategy than the next place to put your money. And it's called an equity index strategy. Now, what that is, there's no downfall. You can never lose what you put into it. But you can gain everything with a cap of about 12%.
Okay.
So, bank accounts, pretty flat. You're not going to make a lot of money. Stock market, good ups, big downs. Equity index strategy, you get to, enjoy all the ups, benefit from all the increases, never go down.
Okay.
So of those 3, which sounds most intriguing?
Well, never losing money.
Yes, absolutely. So let me tell you a little bit how this works. So the equity index strategy, I'm going to write EIS on here just to keep me on track. Have you ever heard of the S&P 500 or the Standard & Poor's 500?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's like a stock index, right?
Correct.
Now, those are the most held companies in the United States. So all the big companies, Walmart's, Target. I'm not sure who's all in there, but it's a big exchange. So what this does, the equity index strategy actually follows the S&P 500. Okay.
Okay.
Now, huge benefit there. The S&P 500, I usually say over 25 years, but I think it's been more like 70 or 80 years. They have got an average rate of return of over 10%. I'm gonna write 10% on there, but I think it's closer to 11.
Okay.
So now, let's say in 1920 we invested money into that, and we've been making a rate of return of 10% or 11% every year since then. We'd be pretty wealthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's who this follows, 10%. So now, if you're looking on this guy, we're falling in right about here. It's not necessarily a 12 on average. That's not saying you can't get 12, but that's still up there. Right? I mean, you're better off than Mr. 4% over there.
Absolutely.
So now how this works is, when you put your money in, and I'll draw this out for you a little bit better, but you're going to have a floor of 0, which you can't go below, and then a max of 12%. So, and this is kind of the catch. With this kind of investment strategy, if it goes up anywhere up to 12%, you get to enjoy the increase with the S&P 500. If it goes above 12%, we stay at 12%, while the company makes money.
Okay.
Make sense? Now, if it drops below 0, we stay flat at 0. We don't lose anything. Okay. So, I have a little graph on here.
Gains aren't quite as great, but you can't lose.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, if you look at this graph with me, and I'd write this out for you, but I'm not that good at math.
Okay.
I know you would be surprised. But let's say we invest $10,000, or we've been saving for a while, we've got $10,000. Okay? And now we're going to talk stocks on one hand and then the index strategy on the other. Okay? So now 1 year we take a 10% increase. Great. Now we have $11,000 in there.
Excellent.
Fantastic, right? Oh my gosh, we got another $10,000 increase. Now we're up to $12,100.
Excellent.
Perfect. 20% decrease. If we're in the stock market, we just dip below what we put in, right? So we're at $9,600. We put 10 in, we're in the negative.
That's not good.
That's not good. But where do you think you are if you have the equity index strategy?
Stay right there.
You're level. You didn't gain anything, but you didn't lose
But you don't lose anything.
Right.
Okay.
17% increase or decrease. Yikes, stock market guy's down $7,900. Where are we at?
0? We don't lose anything.
Don't lose anything. We're still at 12,100. So
We don't gain anything, but we don't lose anything.
right.
Okay.
So now over time, because this happens with the stock market, I think it has recently.
Yes, it is.
So is this. I mean, so good, you know. But you're at 12,100. We're sitting there. Mr. Stock Market's at 7,900. Oh, but hey, we got a 50% increase. So now he's at $9,000. What are we at?
Well, we wouldn't get the 15%, right?
Right. What do we get?
12.
Perfect.
Okay.
We're somewhere up there. I don't really know, but we're up here. He's down here. We're up here. Huge benefit, right?
Huge benefit.
Yeah, I think it's great. So just to illustrate this is a fun little worksheet, but S&P takes 10%, we get 10%. 7, 7, 12, 12, 3, 3, negative 10, 0, negative 38, 0, 14%,
12.
12, 17,
12.
perfect. So I think you understand the equity index strategy. How
Mhm.
exciting is that?
That is pretty exciting to think about.
Yeah, I think so. And you know the thing is, it's been around for years. This type of investment strategy has been around for years.
How come nobody's ever talked about it?
Because it's scandalous. Anyways,
Okay.
so now we talked about the inflation battle, right?
Yeah.
And we've kind of looked at a way that we can defeat the inflation battle by averaging almost 11%. More than likely, if we look at history, we can more than likely say that, right?
Okay.
Okay, so now let's talk about taxes. Taxes on income is pretty huge, especially if you, and income's one thing, but investments. So if you get taxed on your investments, it's even more,
Yeah.
right? So now let's look at this. And the scenario here is a gentleman walks in, and he tells the banker, I want to make $1 million by the time I retire at age 65. Okay, well the banker says, well, assuming we have a 5% rate of return on maybe a CD, something a little higher than a savings account, how much would he have to save? And he's taking into account, taxes coming out, how much you have to pay in taxes when he takes the money out,
Okay.
So he came up with scenario number one, no tax deferral. He's gonna have to save $1,639 every single month in order to get his $1 million by retirement age.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And one thing I say with this scenario, and this is kind of the people that have those tax qualified plans, it's kind of like being on a really calm river floating on your raft going toward a waterfall. Because the river's nice, you're saving tax deferred now, you get tax breaks, great. But then when you take that money out, who knows what the tax rates are going to be?
Yeah.
I mean,
really.
we can hope that they're going to be lower, but more than likely they might be higher.
Yeah.
Who knows? And even if they're the same, my gosh, if you save that $640,000 and have to pay taxes on that, yikes. Okay. So scenario number two, we take no tax deferral, but we're actually beating inflation. We got a 10% rate of return on there.
Okay.
So now he only has to save $899. Do you think you could save almost $900 a month?
That'd be a stretch.
Yeah, for anybody, I think. But it's a huge increase from this guy,
Right.
right? Like we're looking at about $700.
Right. Yeah.
So massive. But now let's take it a step further. Now we got a 10% rate of return, so we're kind of staying ahead of inflation, and we're going to stay tax deferred, which means when we withdraw that money, we're not paying taxes on it.
That's huge.
Huge. And now look how much we're putting away: $438 a month.
Okay.
And that's to have $1 million by age 65. Now
It's still steep but doable. Like,
it's doable, right? And
I
look
mean,
at the
you
difference.
look at 16, it's like, oh, I can't.
So that's the importance when we talk about
Wow.
beating inflation and beating taxes. What do you think about that?
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Those are some pretty crazy numbers.
it's very exciting, and that's why before I started, I said I was going to take a little bit more time with you. I wanted you to understand this,
Yeah.
because
Thank you.
in order to build long-term financial independence, this is just stuff. Regardless of what you do, you have to understand this. Everybody has to understand this. It doesn't really matter what kind of product you invest in. You have to know that you need to try and beat taxes and beat inflation, and that's important.
Those are the two keys to retirement.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Now that we've done that, I gotta try and follow this up with other steps, which is crazy. But step number 7 is estate planning, and this is kind of somewhat of a no-brainer. But having a living will, just so you can kind of, if you do build up that long-term financial independence, where's that money gonna go at the end of your life, stuff like that. So if you've got that in place, great. Do you?
No.
Okay. Well,
but
that's something that,
definitely need to.
yeah, and that's something we can help you with. You know, we can talk with, we've got attorneys that we can get you in touch with, and they can get you started on making a will, building an estate plan, stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay, so we've gone through all 7 steps. Now, what I'd like to ask you is, of those 2, which 2 steps, if you had to pick 2 of them, which 2 do you think would be most beneficial to you? And those are the 7
Probably
steps.
number 2 and number 6.
Absolutely. You know, I'd be honest, I think I picked the same. Number 6 is, I'm glad you said that, because really what we can do is all these steps build in with number 6 and absolutely make a great plan for a person to be able to figure out how they want to kind of go through their financial life to become financially independent.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the next steps from here is, what I need to do is I need to get a little bit of information from you.
Okay.
So just some really easy questions, I'll go through that. And then from there, once I'm done with that, what we'll do is just talk about, you know, getting back together, if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me start with this guy. So there's some really easy questions. Just so you can see up here, I gotta just put your data, your name, date of birth, your family's information. So I pre-filled that because I knew that about you.
Okay.
Let me ask you, any major purchases within the next 2 to 3 years that you're planning on?
Yes.
Okay.
I have 5 children and they have started going to college.
Oh wow.
So.
Yeah, that's huge. Boys or girls?
My oldest right now is a freshman at St. Robert, and then I have a 10th grader, a 7th grader, a 4th grader, and a 3rd grader.
Oh my gosh, you are in trouble.
So, looking at expanding that cash flow.
Well, yeah, I'm glad we met. So talking through cash flow, let me ask you. So if we were able to put a plan in place, a big thing that I need to know is how much do you think that you'd be able to set aside in order to put towards this comfortably? I don't want you to stretch yourself, but how much do you think? Then I will say maybe you should stretch yourself, just something to think about. But how much do you think that you could put toward a plan like this? Stay comfortable, but really start saving and investing in your future.
$200.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down because I'm gonna use that to build your plan. And I gotta tell you something. If you think that you can put that $200 away, when I come back and I build this plan for you, and you look at it, and we look at it together, and we talk through it, you are gonna be so excited with the numbers you see.
Okay.
Because that $200 is gonna go so far for you. I promise. And then the other thing is, it gives you a peace of mind and a framework, so you almost know, if you're looking at the plan that we go over, you're going to be able to say, all right, by this date, my money is going to start paying me, and I don't really need to worry about working anymore.
Okay.
Now, how exciting is that to know?
That's pretty exciting.
Do you think anybody else knows that?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think when people think about retirement, and the retirement like we talked about, it's just some mythical thing, some date out there someday.
Out there, yeah.
And they don't
agree.
think in their head, oh, I'm gonna have this much money and I'm gonna be able to retire on this date. They think, gosh, I hope that someday I'm gonna be able to retire, but I don't really know how much that's gonna cost.
And a lot of people think about an age. They're more
Yeah,
concerned
absolutely.
about what their age is as opposed to how financially independent they could be or need to be in order to be able to.
Yeah, what if you could be financially independent by 50?
That'd be great. That'd be great.
So let me talk to you a little about, I guess, you know, how much this is going to cost you. As far as our services, honestly, you don't really pay a dime. The companies that we represent pay us a finder's fee, so they pay us.
Okay.
So really, the only thing that you're going to pay into is yours.
Wow.
Okay. So that's good. Next time we meet, the one thing that I will require is you to bake some warm chocolate chips. So time it right, because they need to be warm when I get here.
Warm chocolate
So I need
chip
chocolate chip cookies. I prefer them in the middle of the table so we can all share.
Okay.
Chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip.
Okay.
Not oatmeal raisin.
No, and
Okay.
chocolate milk if you've got it.
Chocolate.
I can settle for white, but chocolate would be just fine.
Okay.
And then I want you to, right now I need you to answer a question for me. If I build a plan using that $200 that you say you can set aside, and I tell you that by, you know what age do you want to retire at?
I
If
don't
you had to
know.
pick an age. Should we say 55?
We
Is that
could
comfortable?
say 55,
All right.
65
Now, if I can build
if I love what I'm doing.
55, 65, I like it. If I can build a plan using that, and you like it, I bring it to you, it looks good, is there any reason that we can't do business?
No.
No reason. I'm writing no. No reason. And remember that.
Okay.
Okay? Secondly, if we do business, and even if we don't for some reason, but you like what I've shared with you, like the information that you've gotten today, is there any reason that you couldn't maybe give me the names of a couple people that you know that might benefit, only if you think they benefit?
No, I don't see. I mean, I would want to contact them first and let them know.
Well,
You know,
yeah,
ask.
because that'd be weird otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, no, I'd probably call them first and say, you know, I talked to you, and that would be fine.
Great. Well, pending any questions, that's all I have to go over with you today. I really appreciate, again, you letting me come over and talk through everything with you. Like I said, I take a lot of passion in sharing this stuff with people, and I feel important that people learn this. So for me, it was an honor to meet you and be able to share this with you, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah.
to come.